I woke up that day in a life that wasn't mine, in the body of George, the son of City A's richest man. It just so happened to be my birthday. Normally, a day like this would be filled with laughter, champagne, and well-wishers, but there was one person missing, my fiancée, Willow. The grand hall was buzzing with City A's young elites, all casting curious glances my way. I lounged on the sofa, sipping my wine, my expression unreadable, hiding the storm inside. My friend David leaned in, concern shadowing his face. "George, it's your birthday. Where's Willow?" Before I could answer, the room fell silent for a split second as everyone's eyes darted toward a phone screen David held up. On it was Willow, half kneeling at a seaside villa, fastening $1 million watch onto the wrist of an intern. Their smiles were intimate, the kind reserved for lovers, not friends. A massive cake sat behind them, the caption shining bright, "The best for you, the most beautiful scenery, the finest gift. Happy birthday, may my Makoto always be happy." Anger flickered across David's face as he handed me the phone. I dialed her number. The wind and waves crashed faintly in the background when her voice came through, tinged with irritation. "I'm still on a business trip," she said. "I'll make it up to you next time." Business trip? Right. I didn't even pause. By business trip, you mean celebrating your birthday with an intern? Her voice sharpened, pretending innocence. "Makoto's under a lot of pressure. I'm just keeping him company." And then, from somewhere behind her, a timid voice chimed in, "Miss Willow. I know I'm not worthy, maybe you should go back." Willow's tone softened instantly, full of tenderness for him, and then she snapped it back at me like ice. "George, can you stop being so unreasonable? You have so many people to celebrate with. Makoto only has me. What's there to fuss about?" I let out a bitter laugh, the cold truth burning on my tongue. "Have you forgotten who gave your family everything they have today? Don't know how to appreciate it? Don't blame me for being merciless." I hung up, my chest tight with a mix of rage and heartbreak, the realization settling in. The George in the story I'd stepped into had always been a tool, a stepping stone for Willow and her pretty boy. And now, watching history repeat itself, I understood exactly how little he mattered to her world. George had once believed that love could fix everything. He forgave Willow again and again, convinced that once they married she'd finally settle down. After the wedding he adored her even more, showering her with patience and indulgence. But his devotion only paved the way for betrayal. One night changed everything. A single, deliberate accident tore his life apart, his parents killed instantly in a car crash orchestrated by the very woman he loved. Later, weakened and broken, George endured a far crueler torment at the hands of Willow and Makoto. High heels dug into the back of his hand as Willow stared down at him, eyes like shards of glass. "If you hadn't forced me to marry you," she hissed, "I would have been with Makoto long ago. Someone as cruel as you deserves to rot in hell." Makoto crouched nearby, laughing wildly, his mask finally falling away. "You really thought Willow loved you? She loved your money. That car accident. We arranged it. Wang Corporation, Liu Corporation, they're both ours now. You're pathetic." And so George died, betrayed, humiliated, erased from the life he built. Willow and Makoto went on to live the blissful life they'd stolen from him. But fate wasn't finished with George. He opened his eyes again, reborn. This time there was no thirst for revenge, only a cold, steady resolve. He burned every gift he'd ever given Willow, set a countdown on his phone, and disappeared from her world without a word. When Willow finally woke up to what she'd lost, chasing after him with regret, George stood before her with nothing left but emptiness. "Willow," he said quietly, "I don't love you anymore." I remember reading that scene and actually cursing out loud, because how could a story be this cruel? But before I could finish ranting, I was pulled straight into its pages. I snapped back to the present, my hand tightening around my phone. "Assistant Ku," I said, my voice like ice, "cancel all cooperation with Liu Corporation starting tomorrow. Target every single one of their operations. And check for any illegal activity in our past dealings with them." "Yes, President Wang," came the reply. Did they really think I was still the same pitiful George? Not anymore. If I was in this story now, I might as well enjoy rewriting it. I hung up. The private room went silent, the air heavy with disbelief. Faces that had once looked at me with pity now stared wide-eyed. David, my oldest friend, froze with his glass halfway to his lips, as if he were seeing me for the first time. I tossed my phone to him and said lightly, "Forget about her. Let's enjoy ourselves. If the Liu family is so eager to court death, I'll gladly help send them there." David understood exactly what that meant. 70% of Liu Corporation's business came from the Wang Group. By tomorrow, they'd have no foothold left in City A. A family that had built its arrogance on the Wang name would soon find out what it felt like to lose it. For years David had feared I was too blinded by love, too ready to be crushed under Willow's heel. Now, watching me stand up at last, he smiled a rare, satisfied smile. "You're right," he said. "It's time she learned her place. Come on, drink up." And just like that, the private room came alive again, the tension lifting as glasses clinked. Meanwhile, miles away, Willow's smile faltered for the first time. She felt a flicker of panic she couldn't explain. "He actually seemed angry this time," she murmured to her friend Maria, who waved it off with a laugh. "You're just out celebrating Makoto's birthday," Maria said. "What's there to be mad about? Besides, you're not even married yet. If he's this controlling now, what happens later? Don't spoil him too much. Knock that temper of his into shape." Willow nodded, reassured. "You're right, Maria. He's treated me well for so long. This is just a tantrum. When I get back, if he doesn't apologize properly, I won't forgive him." Makoto, sitting beside her, lowered his eyes, tears slipping down his cheeks, an act polished to perfection. "I'm sorry, Willow," he said softly. "I didn't even know today was President Wang's birthday. I just wanted to give you a chance to relax. I never meant to upset him. When we return, I'll apologize myself. He can yell at me, hit me, whatever he wants. Just don't let this ruin what you two have built over the years." Willow's heart clenched. She reached out to wipe his tears, voice tender. "Makoto, you're too kind. This isn't your fault. I've celebrated so many birthdays with him already, what more does he want? It's George who's being petty. When we get back, I'll make him apologize to you." Makoto kept his head bowed, but the corner of his lips curved upward in triumph. He leaned into her embrace, his voice trembling just enough to sound sincere. "Willow sis, you're so good to me, unlike my life before, when no one cared for me. You're the only one who's ever treated me like a real brother." And just like that, his words pierced her softest spot. She didn't push him away. Instead, she stroked his back, eyes full of pity. "From now on you'll have me. As long as I'm here, if anyone dares bully you, I won't let them off." Across the city, George was already rewriting their story. From that moment on, George decided every year, he would celebrate her birthday with her, no exceptions. The next morning, chaos was already rippling through the Liu family. Diego Liu, head of the family empire, strode into his office only to be met by his secretary, who practically ran over in high heels, panic written all over her face. "Miss Liu, bad news," she stammered. "Early this morning, our investors called, they're pulling out." Diego froze, disbelief etched into every line of his face. The secretary's tone grew graver. "It's not just one, sir. All of our partners have cancelled their cooperation. And the bank, they've frozen our loans. They're demanding immediate repayment, or they'll take legal action." Diego's knuckles whitened as he grabbed her arm. "Say that again." Her voice trembled. "All of our partnerships, gone. The loans too. How is that even possible?" Diego couldn't comprehend it. Projects were already halfway complete, deals carefully forged over years. Yet everything was crumbling in a single morning. One misstep, and the Liu family empire could collapse overnight. For years, their influence had depended on the Wang family's shadow, but now that foundation seemed to vanish before his eyes. Then another secretary appeared, breathless and shaking. "Miss Liu, the construction sites. They've been inspected and ordered to shut down. Safety hazards, they say." Diego snapped. The crystal ornament on his desk shattered under his hand, fragments scattering across the floor. Both secretaries flinched, fear frozen on their faces. His forehead bulged with veins, his rage palpable. Something's not right. Who dares challenge my family? They must have a death wish. For a fleeting moment, Diego calmed himself, thinking perhaps it could still be salvaged. But trembling, he picked up his phone and called me. I sat on the top floor of Wang Group's headquarters, watching the phone ring endlessly. Diego's frantic calls lit up the screen, but I didn't answer immediately. Spread across my desk were files, financial fraud, tax evasion, commercial scams. The Liu family had operated with impunity under the Wang name, breaking rules with abandon. With this mountain of evidence, they could spend a lifetime behind bars. By the fifth ring, I finally picked up, voice icy and measured. "George, you finally answered," Diego sputtered, nearly in tears. "This morning, all our investors and partners pulled out. Do you know what's happening?" "Oh, is that so?" I said, calm and sharp. Seems they reacted quickly. Diego's breath hitched. "George, what do you mean?" I said flatly, Wang Group is terminating all cooperation with Liu Corporation. The announcement goes out shortly. On the other end, it was like he'd been struck by lightning. The weight of that one sentence crashed over him. Losing Wang Group meant certain annihilation. He could barely speak before I hung up, leaving the sound of the beeping phone echoing like a hammer in his skull. Diego slumped into his chair, face ashen, muttering in disbelief, "No, impossible. George loves Willow so much, how could he?" Then the realization hit him like a second blow. The Liu family's entire partnership had rested on George's relationship with his daughter. Canceling cooperation wasn't just business, it was personal. And when he dug deeper, when the truth finally reached him, his mind refused to believe it. Willow hadn't spent George's birthday with him. She had gone to the seaside with an intern, flaunting it for the world to see. By the time he processed it, fury consumed him. Papers flew from his desk, scattering like leaves in a storm. Unfilial daughter, that wretched girl, he roared, body shaking, voice raw. "Do you even know who George is? She's slapped the Wang family in the face. Does she want us dead?" The secretaries cowered, terrified, witnessing a rage they'd never seen before. Diego, recovering his breath, dialed Willow's number with trembling hands. The call connected instantly. "Willow," he bellowed, fury echoing through the office. "Get back here this instant. Look at the mess you've made." And on the other end, she sounded perfectly calm. Almost amused. "Dad, why are you so worked up? Did George go crying to you?" "It was Makoto's birthday. No one else was with him, so I just took him out for a bit of fun." "What's the big deal?" Willow's voice was sharp, almost teasing. But the truth was, she didn't see it as a big deal at all. The Liu family had only climbed to its current height because of her, and over the years her influence at home had grown so much that even Diego often had to humor her. Respect had long since become optional in her eyes. Diego's chest heaved with fury, veins throbbing in his neck. "Do you even realize what you've done? Because of your reckless behavior, the Wang family has cancelled their cooperation with us. Are you trying to destroy the Liu family completely?" Willow laughed, cold and carefree. "Oh, please. George has followed me around like a shadow since we were kids. Calling him my simp wouldn't be an exaggeration. This is just him trying to scare me into backing down. How childish. Once I coax him a little when I get back, everything will be fine. Do you really think he'd go after Liu Corporation for real?" Diego could barely believe his ears. Investors were pulling out, contracts were being cancelled, the foundation of his empire was crumbling, and she still thought it was all a joke. Then a sickly sweet, overly affected voice drifted through the phone, the kind that made Diego's stomach turn. "Willow, stop answering. The tuna sashimi is really good today. Here, let me feed you." Makoto, you're such a good boy." Diego's roar shook the office walls. "Willow, do you want to drive me to my grave? Do you want to watch the Liu family burn before you're satisfied?" But instead of fear, Willow's voice came back calm, almost irritated. "Dad, will you quit it already? George is just throwing a tantrum. Look at how worked up you are. You don't even have the dignity of a Liu family patriarch right now. Enough. Stop calling me. I'm eating with Makoto, and you're ruining the mood. She hung up without a second thought. No matter how many times Diego tried to reach her, she refused to answer. His vision darkened, panic and disbelief mingling into rage. Could he really have raised such a brainless daughter? The marriage alliance with the Wang family, once guaranteed, now teetered on the edge of ruin. Even if Willow liked Makoto, there were limits. This wasn't just private, it was flaunted for the world to see. Posting it online was a slap in the face to the Wang family, one of the richest and most powerful in City A, and ranked among the top 3 internationally. Diego smashed his phone to pieces, his breathing ragged as he paced, plotting frantically. Send someone to the Seaside villa. Bring them back immediately, he barked, eyes glinting with ruthless intent. Top speed, no excuses, George had to be calmed, or the Liu family was finished. But calls to his old business friends went unanswered or were curtly dismissed. For the first time, Diego felt the crushing weight of the Wang family's influence. Despair settled in, gnawing at his chest. Meanwhile, I was flipping through Makoto's file when my assistant appeared, unease written across her face. President Wang, the head of the nursing home, just called. Makoto's mother, she's been physically abusing the staff, and several valuable items have gone missing. Security footage strongly suggests she took them. But since Miss Liu arranged her stay here, they didn't dare take action without your approval. I froze, recalling the events from the original story. The Wang family's private nursing home was a sanctuary for the elite, nestled in the heart of the city, with every amenity imaginable, a place for wealthy retirees and officials alike. And now, Makoto's mother was running it like her personal kingdom. I set the file down, stood, and said with purpose, Assistant Ku, let's go see this for ourselves. Ku followed without hesitation. Outside Makoto's mother's room, we could already hear the shrill chaos inside. I'm here because your President Wang's fiancée arranged it. You lowlifes better serve me properly, or I'll have President Wang fire every last one of you. Get out. All of you, out. Nurses stumbled out, tears streaking their faces, hands protecting the marks of abuse. Inside, Ito's mother lounged in bed, sunflower seed shells and banana peels scattered across the floor, phone in hand. Son, have you gotten Willow yet? The staff here are useless lowlifes who look down on me. Tell Willow to hand this nursing home over to me. Let's see if anyone dares defy me again. Makoto's small, trembling voice came through the line. Don't worry, Mom. Just a little more time, I'll get Willow. George is just a pathetic pushover. Once they were married, Ito's mother and Makoto thought they'd have everything. George erased from the equation, the Wang family's wealth theirs for the taking. Standing silently at the doorway, I listened to their scheming, amusement flickering in my eyes, while Assistant Ku and the nursing home director beside me looked nearly green with fury. Ito's mother grinned, completely convinced of her own cleverness. Oh, right, son, she said, twirling the jade bracelet in her fingers, I just happened to get this the other day. Quality is excellent, you can tell it's worth a fortune at a glance. When you get back, I'll give it to you. Use it to please Willow. She'll love it. Her voice was bold, arrogant, every syllable dripping with entitlement. Makoto's soft, ambitious voice echoed behind her. Mom, once we take over the Wang family, we'll have everything we want. I suppressed a cold laugh and nodded slightly to Director Ning, signaling him to open the door. Ito's mother froze for a heartbeat when she saw us. Who are you? Get out. Who said you could come in? I'm the owner of this nursing home, I said, stepping closer, letting my presence loom over her. George. Her expression shifted from shock to haughty defiance almost immediately. So you're that pathetic little. I was personally arranged here by your fiancée, Willow. You'd better show me some respect. I ignored her theatrics. Director Ning, gather all evidence of her behavior over the past few days, assaulting staff, stealing property. File a police report. Yes, President Wang, Ning said, already moving to execute my orders. Panic flashed across Ito's mother's face. She scrambled upright, voice cracking. You can't do this. Don't you dare, I'll have Willow break off your engagement. Security moved swiftly, surrounding her bed. Restrain her immediately, Ning barked. The police are on their way. Don't let her move the stolen goods. The nurses she had hurt in the past days lit up with hope and rushed forward to reclaim what was theirs. Ito's mother shrieked, rage and desperation mixing into a wild storm. Don't touch my things. I'm not a thief. These are my personal belongings. Once Willow comes back, you'll regret this. But the law didn't bend to her tantrums. Within minutes, police arrived. Director Ning had already reported that the stolen jewelry was worth tens of millions. They took the case seriously. No matter how much she screamed, no matter how she rolled on the floor or cursed, nobody paid attention. The imperial green jade bracelet, stolen and reported just days ago, was found in her bag. Every detail lined up perfectly. She was caught red-handed, and there was no escape. Her phone still connected to Makoto, who was frantic on the other end. Mom. Just wait. I'll find Willow right now. She'll come out and save you. I didn't flinch. George, you bastard. Makoto roared helplessly. But he was next. Once we finished with his mother, he would see the consequences of his arrogance firsthand. Soon after, more items were discovered, a necklace, an emerald ring. A few of the onlooking residents stepped forward immediately, claiming the items as theirs. That necklace is mine. I've been looking for it for ages, so this old woman stole it. Another shouted, pointing to the emerald ring, that's mine, you thief. These weren't ordinary people, they were the elite residents of the Wang family's private nursing home. The combined value of all stolen items exceeded 10 million yuan. Ito's mother collapsed to the ground, grasping at the evidence in vain, screaming, "No, this isn't stealing. I just thought they were pretty, so I borrowed them. I'll return them right now. George, no. President Wang, I was wrong. Please, for Willow's sake, help me." Her threats and pleas meant nothing. The police, with the item's rightful owners present, had no patience. She was taken away, furious, screaming, cursing, completely powerless. I made sure the nursing home's residents and staff were compensated. The distinguished residents who had lost valuables received supreme gold cards granting them 5 years of completely free service at the home. Staff members who had been bullied received generous cash compensation. Justice had been served. When I walked out, I checked my phone. Dozens of missed calls and messages from Willow glared at me. George, how long are you going to keep this up? Get Makoto's mom out right now. Are you seriously making such a big deal over something so small? All I did was celebrate Makoto's birthday and you've blown it into all this. Can't you be more reasonable? I'm telling you, when I get back, you'd better kneel and apologize to Makoto, or I'll never forgive you. I let the corner of my lips curl into a cold smile and tapped out one message. Sure, then don't you ever forgive me. At the Seaside villa, Willow's knuckles turned white around her phone when she saw my reply. Her chest heaved with fury, eyes blazing. Oh, George, just you wait, let's see how I deal with you when I get back. She squeezed Makoto's hand, voice softening, almost tender. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, nothing will happen to your mother. I'll make sure you get an explanation. But I was already several steps ahead, rewriting the rules of their world. Makoto's eyes were red, tears streaming freely down his cheeks. It's all my fault. If I hadn't asked you to spend my birthday with me, none of this would have happened. Willow, you're all I have. Willow's heart ached, a heavy knot of anger and helplessness twisting inside her. She pulled him close, letting the warmth of her embrace shield him from the world, but every heartbeat only deepened her resentment toward George. Maria, standing nearby, curled her lip, her words cutting through the tension. Willow, I told you long ago you've been too good to George. That's why he's grown so arrogant. This time, you absolutely cannot forgive him easily. I know, Maria, Willow said, her jaw tightening. Pack your things, we're going back right now to settle this with George. Before they could move, the sharp chime of the villa's doorbell sliced through the tension. Willow and Maria exchanged a glance. The villa was secluded, a quiet retreat far from prying eyes. Who could possibly have found them? Willow opened the door to see the Liu family's butler standing there, flanked by 5 stern-looking bodyguards. His expression was grave. Miss, the master ordered me to bring you back today, no matter what. Please come with me. Willow had already made up her mind to confront George, so she didn't argue. Her brows furrowed, but her resolve was clear. Without a word, the three of them were escorted into a business van, the city looming closer with every passing mile. Inside, the butler made a call to Diego. Yes, understood, sir. Hanging up, he turned to Willow. Miss, the master says we're going straight to the Wang family's old estate. Willow's face darkened, her anticipation coiling like a spring. Fine. I understand, she said, voice low but resolute. At Orange Hill Manor, the Wang family's sprawling estate stood as a symbol of power, wealth, and untouchable influence. Diego arrived ahead of the others, parking outside the grand gates, eager to gain entry. But the security he had taken for granted all his life greeted him with something else entirely: disdain. Captain Oscar, head of security and one of my most trusted men, didn't even hide it. I don't care who you are. Do you have an appointment? Diego froze. Every guard had always treated him with the utmost respect, but now, confronted with Oscar's icy tone, he realized the world had changed. No appointment. Oscar continued, unflinching. Then you'd better leave. Our young master is very busy. He doesn't meet with random visitors. Diego's face flushed with disbelief and panic. Captain Oscar, it's me, Diego. I come here often. I've never needed an appointment before. Oscar's sneer cut like a knife. Exactly. Before. The young master gave orders: without an appointment, you won't be seen. Even as his face betrayed a flicker of anger, Diego didn't dare push further. He was here asking for help, and he knew the price of losing his composure. At that moment, Willow and her companions arrived. She had overheard everything, and fury flared within her. She stormed forward, every step sharp and deliberate, her heels clacking against the stone path like a drumbeat of rage. Well, Oscar, you dare talk to my father like that? Who gave you the guts? She demanded. Oscar's gaze swept over her, cool and mocking. Miss Liu, the whole of City A knows your Liu family is finished. Do you still think you can strut around Orange Hill Manor like before? Willow's hands balled into fists, nails digging into her palms as she jabbed a finger toward him. And who do you think you are? Just a dog raised by the Wang family, and you dare point fingers at me? Did you forget how much George listens to me? Let me in right now, or I'll have George break all 4 of your limbs. Oscar hesitated. He had no way of knowing whether George truly intended to destroy the Liu family, or if this was merely intimidation. Offend her too harshly, and life could become complicated for the head of security. He made the call, and when he spoke again, his voice had turned cold. The young master says only the Liu father and daughter, along with Makoto, are allowed inside. Everyone else waits outside. By the time they entered the manor, Diego was in full panic mode, rattling off the financial devastation facing Liu Corporation. Each word, each statistic, only fueled Willow's anger. Her fists clenched so tightly, she could feel the blood rushing to her fingertips. And there I was, leaning casually by the gates, sipping red wine, watching her storm across the courtyard. The fury in her step echoed the heartbeat of the city itself. George, she spat, jabbing a finger at my chest, voice taut with fury. Do you even realize what you've done? Makoto's mother is in the police station because of you. Liu Corporation is on the brink of ruin. What exactly are you trying to do? Without a word, I rose from my chair. The slap landed across her cheek with a sharp crack that rang through the courtyard. Her head snapped to the side, a bright red mark blooming instantly. She froze, eyes wide in disbelief. You hit me, she whispered, voice high-pitched with shock. Even my fathers never dared to hit me. For decades, she had known me as the obedient pushover, the one who never dared raise a hand or voice. But now, standing before her, the warmth and flattery were gone. All that remained was the chill in my eyes, cold, unyielding, and utterly indifferent. For the first time, something small and delicate, a tremor of unease, passed over her face, like a crack in a mask she'd learned to wear. Diego moved before he thought, heart pounding, lunging to shield Willow, and my men folded around him like an iron curtain. George's frustration came out in a hard stomp and a shout. You've gone too far. Willow is your fiancée, you can't lay a hand on her. Makoto snapped from shock and slammed himself at Willow's side, arm circling her narrow waist as if to physically hold back what was coming. This is barbaric, he said, voice raw. Even if she's done wrong, does she deserve this? Willow's face closed like a book. George's eyes went darker. Kneel and apologize, he said, low and final. Now. Or don't expect forgiveness. A laugh came from me then, not amusement, but the brittle sound of someone who has watched a story play out the way they planned. Even now, she seemed to live by the tidy rules of romance novels, dramatic, certain, sure that everything would resolve in sympathy for the heroine. Oscar, I said, because cruelty tastes easier when shared. Miss Liu loves a spectacle. Let's wake her properly. Something like hunger lit Oscar's eyes. At his barely there gesture, 12 guards moved as one and pinned them fast. Willow screamed and twisted, but there was no breaking that human wall. Diego's shock became a pleading shout. George, what are you doing? I'm your uncle. Makoto was knocked to the stone, his cheek pressed cold against the ground, and his voice trembled. Willow, help me. Oscar didn't answer with words, he answered with a slap. Makoto's face puffed, blood at the lip. One by one the guards followed, the sharp, awful sound of skin on skin filling the manor like a struck bell. Willow stood rooted, disbelief icing over into fear. She had come for a birthday, that small, ordinary kindness, and found herself at the center of a carefully set trap. The truth landed like a snake. This was deliberate. I was not merely humiliating them, I was methodically unmaking the Liu family. Her pleas rose, jagged and raw. I was wrong, I shouldn't have. Please stop, and I drank my wine as if it were the quietest thing in the room. When the last blow fell, they looked broken in a way that paint and makeup could not hide. Willow crawled to me on her knees, fingers clutching at my pant leg, voice small. I was wrong. Please spare my family. I'll obey. There's nothing between Makoto and me, I swear. My heart did not warm. I kicked her aside, grabbed a stack of papers, and let them fall over her face like a summons. Look, I told her. These are your father's ledgers, fraud, tax evasion, scams. Hand them to the authorities and he will never walk free again. I nodded, and Oscar tossed a battered baseball bat at her feet. If you want mercy, I said simply, you'll earn it. Her pupils pinched with shock, her body went rigid. Makoto, groaning on the floor, croaked that there must be another way. Diego's face crumpled with a father's helplessness as the choice loomed, a life she once claimed to love, or the safety of a family whose fate now hung on a ledger. When Willow looked back at Makoto, the warmth was gone from her eyes. What remained was a hard, cold calculation. In an instant a private history, promises, tenderness, small shared moments flattened under the weight of survival and ambition. She swung the bat with a violence that sounded like a verdict. The room answered with a cry that split the air. Makoto's world narrowed to pain and regret, each blow a final accounting. I did not move. She struck again and again until his body gave out, the manor filling with the metallic tang of blood and the heavy, stunned silence that follows ruin. Willow dropped the bat, smoothed a practiced smile onto her face, and knelt before me with the same precision she had shown in every choice. George, she breathed, I only love you. Give me another chance. I poured the half-finished bottle of red wine over her head with an icicle of a voice. You were part of the fraud, I said. And your assault was recorded. There is no pretending anymore. Tell me, I said, my voice cold as steel, if I hand you over to the authorities, how many years do you think you'll get? The crimson wine ran down her hair like blood, twisting her carefully crafted smile into something grotesque. She froze, her grin vanishing, replaced by raw, suffocating fear. No, George. I was wrong. You can't do this to me, she whimpered, voice cracking. Go to Africa, I said, my gaze unflinching. See the great grasslands. And don't ever come back. You know the consequences if you do. Oscar stepped forward, obedient as always. Send all 3 of them to Africa. Make sure it's handled properly. No. I'm not going, George. You can't do this. She lunged at me like a wild thing, claws for desperation, trying to grab my pant leg. Oscar's foot connected sharply, sending her sprawling to the floor, and the guards quickly hauled them all away. "No, George. I'm your fiancée. You said you'd love me forever, George. You bastard. How could you do this to me? I was wrong. I'll never dare again." Their voices faded into the distance, trailing off like the last echoes of a life already broken. I turned to my assistant, my gaze sharp. Maria had played an unsavory part in all this. "You'll handle her family," I said, and in Ku's eyes, a flash of cold ruthlessness appeared. "Yes, President Wang," he replied without hesitation. Inside the manor, the emptiness pressed down on me. With the original owners abroad, the place felt hollow, like a stage with missing actors. Even more intolerable was the fact that that useless original owner had, to please Willow, replaced every single estate staff member with men. I summoned the butler immediately, giving him a dressing down sharp enough to sting. "Hire a new team," I ordered. Tea masters, stylists, gardeners, chefs, private doctors, masseuses, cleaners, every single one must be a beautiful woman, with a sweet voice, who can dance. Every day surrounded by men? What kind of life is that? The butler smirked, sly and knowing. "Understood, young master. I'll make sure you're satisfied." His words lingered, teasing and irreverent, but I didn't care. Today, the manor would be rebuilt in my vision, every detail mine to command.